busiest commercial port on the west coast of the U.S. welcomes the 12 world-class teams to the epicenter of glitz, glamour, and blockbuster films. The LA waterfront will swap super tankers for supercharged F-50s. This league is brutal. One mistake, and it's game over.
What a moment, and Brazil! Oh, look at the pile-up!
Who will reign in the City of Angels when a series prize pool of $12.8 million is on the line? Welcome to SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
After 2 events in the Southern Hemisphere, Season 5 of SailGP makes the 7,500-mile trek from Sydney to the west coast of the United States as the world's best sailors prepare once again to put it all on the line, this time on the waters of the Pacific Ocean. Welcome to the Rolex Sail Grand Prix from the Port of LA. It's the first leg of a back-to-back weekend California doubleheader with Hollywood as a backdrop. LA brings all the drama and glamour as SailGP comes to the Southland for the second time. It was at this same venue last season where Spain pulled off their inaugural victory, which kick-started the journey to the season title. Can they repeat that performance again? Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. Well, it's a quick turnaround after a champion is crowned in the City of Angels. Next weekend, San Francisco welcomes the 12 international teams to the City by the Bay. Then in its historic moment for SailGP as the league takes on Brazil for the first time with a visit to Rio before coming back to the States and New York City. Then it's all about Europe with stops in the UK, Germany, Saint-Tropez, Geneva, and Cadiz before the grand final in Abu Dhabi in November. Before we go racing in LA, let's bring you up to speed on what has happened in the first 3 events of Season 5.
3 events down in the SailGP Championship, and the form teams are starting to separate from the rest in the overall standings. Dylan Fletcher has been by far the best SailGP signing in Season 5. They've made every final and put on an impressive tactical display in Sydney.
And the Emirates winning moment goes to Emirates GBR. They take the win in Sydney.
Tom Slingsby's Australia will come back fighting here in LA after Canada managed to land a race-defining Prix penalty on the flying rules.
Penalty Australia, relative Canada, windward boat not keeping clear.
France re-entered the league with a bang. They were contending for the lead from the get-go in Sydney.
Les Bleus, they're back, Todd, they're back, and what a start from De La Pierre, come out red hot there.
There were notable performances from Switzerland too, who now sit firmly mid-table, well away from where they ended Season 4. Penalty points in Sydney had a huge impact on the season's standings. The United States SailGP team's capsize not only stopped them from competing in Sydney, they have 8 season points against their tally. For Germany, in addition to damaging their wing in transit, they had a slight clash with Red Bull Italy, and the most damage was with Mubadala Brazil to give them 12 season penalty points. That will no doubt have a huge impact on their season.
Absolutely kidding me.
For Mubadala Brazil, the umpires determined that they too should have avoided a collision, and they will see 4 points deducted from their overall score. Across Auckland and Sydney, it's clear that only a few teams are capable of being consistent in the stronger breeze. The only surprise was Canada. They turned their fortunes around from an almost rock-bottom finish in Auckland to not only make the final in Sydney, but to contend for the event victory.
150-metre lead over Great Britain. What a Season 5 moment for them this could be.
And let's not forget Spain, who are still joint third overall with New Zealand. Their 7th place in Sydney will give them motivation to remind the fleet who is the reigning Rolex SailGP champion.
So after 3 exciting events to start Season 5, it's Emirates GBR with the overall lead. 3-time champions Australia hold down 2nd place with a tie for 3rd between last year's champions Spain and New Zealand. Rockwell, Denmark round out the top 5, followed by France and North Star Canada. It's then the Swiss and Red Bull Italy on 7 points, but then you witness the aftermath of penalty points issued to Mubadala Brazil, the US SailGP team, and Germany Deutsche Bank, now going fully into season salvage mode. So 4 races with the entire fleet on the water today, then Sunday 3 more fleet races before the field is cut to just the top 3 teams on points, and they will race in the event final. Remember, it's 10 points for a win, down to 1 for 10th. If you finish outside the top 10, you get absolutely nothing for the effort.
Well, it's the Port of Los Angeles providing a really tight race course today. As always, that start's going to be crucial if you want to lead the race to Mark 1. After Mark 1, the boats can sail their own course, trying to find the shortest time between the gates. At each gate, they can turn left or right to try and gain tactical advantage. It's a short course with a good steady breeze out there, so trying to keep your boat at full speed and in that space is going to be really, really difficult, as it's the first time we'll see 12 boats all racing on this same tight course. It's going to need a full crew effort if you want to finish first in front of the fans today.
And there are the 12 teams that are getting ready to race here at day number 1 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, the first time in SailGP history. Right now, we sit it down on the water. The 4th member of our broadcast team, here is Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Good news is looking tremendous down on the water here in LA. The wind is up around 24 kilometers per hour, gusting to up to 35 kilometers per hour. And the locals tell me it's going to build throughout the afternoon, so that's good news. It's super flat water, so it's full send for these F50s. They've got the 24-meter all-purpose swing, high-speed T-foils and high-speed rudders. They've got the J2, so that's the medium-sized front sail. It's gusty, it's shifty out here, so it is a tactical race, but we know that start is super critical to be able to own your race from the beginning. Looks to me like better wind out on the left-hand side of the course, but we all know the best sailors in the world will show us how it's done. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. It's going to be action-packed, so don't go anywhere because it is all on here in LA.
The course for race 1 is 8 legs, axis is 2, 4, 5. Wind is approximately 25 kilometers per hour.
So the best news that we're hearing down on the water from Lisa Darmanin, Stevie, full send. That caught my attention right away.
Oh, it looks like pure drama out there, doesn't it? It's an absolutely perfect race course at the moment. We've got 12 boats. I just can't imagine how tight this is going to be as we come into gate 2. The boats are going to have to be sharp, they're going to have to be fast, but it's perfect conditions.
Hannah Diamond, this is completely different than what we saw yesterday. Practice racing, now it's for real.
Yeah, that's right, and these races count right from the off, so teams have got to be firing straight away.
All right, 45 seconds to go. Remember, we've got 4 fleet races today, all 12 boats, all trying to accumulate points. That's 10 points for win, 1 for 10th. Finish 11th, 12th, you get nothing.
33 seconds to go here, and we can see United States and Italy in the middle of our screen. They're leading back early. They've got a lot of time to kill. Brazil and Australia, bottom right-hand corner. They're lining up this inside turn, bottom of our screen, looking to start. The blue triangle there, that suggests the favourite place to be on the line, but it's gusty and under the adrenaline lounge there, and it's all going to now be about executing from here. Brazil, very aggressive with the Australian boat. Canada have a lovely bit of space there. Pole predictor sits on Brazil, but I think they're going to struggle to accelerate from there. Top of the line, it's New Zealand coming in fast. Canada and New Zealand lining up. Lines turn white. We go here. Who can get going fastest towards Mark 1? New Zealand, they're out and clear. Has Burling judged it right?
And it's the black foils of New Zealand out in front. Peter Burling and crew, they will grab the hole shot at mark number 1 here in Los Angeles, and problems out the back for the Aussies.
Oh, look, they're struggling with their wing sheet. They're in no wind behind the fleet there, and they can't get up on the foils. They're really struggling, but Burling leads away. It's so tight. Down towards gate 2, the Rolex sprint leader is New Zealand, and they're well lined up for gate 2. Nothing better than being out in front, because back in the pack, have a look how busy it is here. France have got to watch out for the Germans. turns. They're just clear there. We've got these red and green circles on the boat. They suggest green means you got the right of way, red means you got a problem and got to keep clear. But right now, the boat without a problem is the New Zealand team. As France, they've threaded the needle and they're well lined up.
And Hannah Diamond at gate number 2, the DP World gate, is going to get really sporty, not for New Zealand or Canada or Spain, but for everyone else.
Yeah, that's right. If you're back in the pack, that decision-making processes are so much more tricky. They've got to make the right call here.
Nice move there by the Spanish, Todd, at the DP World gate. They've taken the right turn to the bottom left-hand corner of our screen. They were in the pack, but they're now in space. They got clear air, and off to that left-hand side of our screen, that's where Lisa said there might be more wind. So we're going to learn a bit about the course here. Brazil, well, they're way out the back. United States round in 10th, and they've got some work to do, as have the real favourites here. Australia, they've been sailing so well, but they're struggling.
It's like stuck on there. I don't know what to do here. Again, the weed stick to Tash.
Oh, he's got weed, he's got just kelp. There's kelp in the water, and anything that's round these hydrofoils just diminishes the performance so much. It's like chucking, you know, it's like dragging a load of chains out the back of your car if you're trying to drive down the road. You're just parked up there, basically, as we can see right now. Spain and Great Britain, Denmark in the middle of our screen. It's so busy, but Canada and New Zealand, well, they're out in front, and surprise, surprise, they're the fastest 2 boats on the racetrack.
Leg 3 of 8, race number 1, the first race of 4. It is the Kiwis out in front. North Star Canada with Giles Scott sitting second, the Swiss in third, and winners last year at the same venue, Spain, currently in 4th. Oh, the precision of the Kiwis, Stevie, they are on point today.
That's really good. And Canada, they just got to the boundary, so they're forced to follow. We can see that yellow line there. We've both got to watch out for Rottwell, Denmark coming, Swiss, coming in. There you go. They're coming across, about to get near the Canadians and the New Zealand boats fairly soon. They come diving through the gap there. What a moment in the middle, but New Zealand are out in front. North Star Canada, they managed to keep clear, and I think these boats are reasonably well set up for gate 3. And what's the choice at the top? Lisa talked about there being more wind to the left of the course. Well, that's the bottom of our screen where the Swiss are now, and they're going to be well lined up. So for New Zealand, it's a big call. They're going to turn left. They're going to sail away from the shoreline, looking to find more wind. Now, if you're behind, what do? Do you follow, or do you try and split the course and get a different route? What are you thinking here, Hannah?
Yeah, I think you can see the boats that have found a bit more space of finding they can find their speed a lot quicker, but this top gate's going to be really critical, finding the best pressure out the top gate.
It is. I think interestingly there, the Swiss made a big gain relative to Canada, so I think there is more wind where New Zealand are going. Switzerland heading back towards less wind. Is it going to be a mistake?
So gate number 3 goes New Zealand and Canada. The Swiss make it through as well, and here comes the big signal on the 405 as everyone jockeys for the best position on this very compact race course here in Los Angeles. We now go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin, what are you seeing? Where's the favorite side of this course?
I think the Kiwis in a really strong position. It's manoeuvred back in Canada as well, so it is really tricky. It's a huge pile up at these gates as well.
Apologize for a little break up there with Lisa.
Trying to minimize.
Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, it's just hard to get clear air. It's just hard to find your own space out here, and you just see the Kiwis. When you're out in front, you can make your own decisions, you dictate the race. When the Kiwis are under pressure, they have those wobbles, but out in front like that, it's really nice and smooth for them.
Penalty Denmark. Port tack boat not keeping clear, go behind Italy.
So Denmark will drop from 8th to 9th, and that leaves New Zealand, Spain, and Switzerland still the top 3, as Lisa reported. New Zealand in a great spot right now. Stevie, you've always said this. Get out in front, stay out in front, you get all the options.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very easy to have a plan A, isn't it? And as soon as you're out in front, you can execute that plan A. The trouble is when you're back in the pack, that's when it's hard to deliver a plan. And I think the Spanish have done a nice job here. Emirates Great Britain in the middle of the fleet, they've climbed up a few places and they're in 5th, so strong position for them. Canada and Switzerland, they look to turn right, heading to the side of the course. Left-hand side of our screen, there seems to be a little bit more wind, but you can't just sail straight upwind in a sailing boat. You've got to sail at an angle to the wind, so occasionally you have to go to the less favoured side. It's a game of compromise.
This is like 5 of 8, the first race of 4 today here at the Port of LA. Hannah Diamond, this has got to be a little shock to the system to some of these teams. Yesterday they had practice races, but the fleet was split in half, 6 and 6. So what is it like now? You've seen 12 boats in the same area you were practicing yesterday with just 6.
Yeah, I think it's going to feel so much more congested on the course. Everything's happening so much quicker, and your strategy is really influenced by the other boats around you. So much faster on your feet and fly by the seat of your pants racing.
Here we go. It's interesting right now, I think, is we got Australia still in 11th. They've closed up a bit, but Rockwool, Denmark, they seem to be making a few mistakes.
And go on board. 3, 2, 1.
And we get a great shot on board. That is the onboard camera brought to you by T-Mobile for Business. On board the American, Stevie, and there's a team that needs a big performance here on day number 1. We always say you can have one bad race, you cannot have two.
Yeah, I think just huge pressure on them there, and they fell off the foils during that tack, but they are racing, they're into it. Rockwool, Denmark, top right-hand corner, they've stopped after that gate, so they seem to have a problem in the roundup. It'll be interesting to find out. Tight moment at the bottom of the screen, right of way Spain. Think New Zealand are clear ahead, but that was tight. It will be interesting to see what comes of that. Diego just kept clear, avoided the collision, but I think the Kiwi boat was clear ahead, and we're on leg 5 of 8. We're basically just passing the halfway point here, and the Spanish boat looks fast to me, Hannah.
Yeah, they do. They've done a really good job of just sitting above the Kiwis' lines. They've got some clear air coming down the course. The thing now is going to be whether they follow or whether they split around this top gate.
So Spain has closed the gap. Remember, Spain won here last year, and as we noted, they opened. That is what kick-started their run to a title last year in season 4.
I think what's interesting, they've chosen to turn right here, Todd, and that's where there's definitely less wind, where the Spanish are heading right now. So potentially, they should have followed the New Zealand crew here and consolidated their second. I think they're turning instantly, look. They're already setting up left-hand side of screen. Spain turn, they're following New Zealand now, but their job really is probably about staying ahead of this group.
North Star Canada, Giles Scott, they come in 3rd place right now. Then the battle for 4th between Emirates GBR, who had a terrible day of practice yesterday, and the Swiss, currently sitting 4 and 5 respectively.
Great Britain are just taking one boat at a time. They're actually doing a very nice job in the pack. As soon as you're back in the pack, you're running plan B, plan E, plan F. And we can hear Hannah here. She's having to try and talk about all the traffic. USA and Great Britain. Great Britain need to keep clear. Switzerland need to keep clear. Oh, they threaded the needle there. Wow, it's so busy on the course. Now Great Britain need to watch out for Brazil. Hannah Mills is going to need to have her head on a swivel to see all the other boats on the race course here. The strategists at the back there, well, Maud on board the Swiss boat, Hannah on board the British boat, both managed to somehow find a way through.
And it's the Kiwis now at gate number 6 that lead the pack, but the gap is closing. Spain coming through there and getting a little bit closer by every minute.
Definitely looks like a problem for Rockwool, Denmark, unfortunately. We'll get more news on that, no doubt, as the information comes in from the tech team. But here we go, another split. Diego Bortin, he has got his fighting gloves on today because he keeps charging, keeps trying to make an overtake.
And we're getting a report that the Rockwool Denmark boat has hit a mark, and so we will find out the damage that was done there and if they can race. Remember, there's still 3 more races today. Let's take a look at it, Stevie.
They're on board. Look, Mark coming into screen, left-hand side. They're very close to it, and that foil on the left. Oh, that's a disaster. That is a absolute shocker. The foils protrude slightly outside the boat here, and we see there Nikolai. He's looking to build a bit of space. Right-hand side of us. Oh, that's a shocker. Oh no, that could be really bad news on board there. They've just tried to cut the corner on the turn. They've hit that real hard. The foil just a bit wide of the boat. Wow. Okay, well, it looks like no one's hurt. That's the main thing, of course, but that boat, oh man, that's not great news.
Meanwhile, on leg 7 of 8, it is the Kiwis still out in front. Spain sitting in 2nd place, nursing that lead. They're going to cross right there. Still not a problem. And this is the picture of calm that you usually see from Peter Burling and company.
No, we've not seen that since Dubai, though, have we? Opening event of season 5. This is the first time they've looked smooth. They struggled on day 1 in Sydney. Look to have their fighting pants back on again for race day 2 in Sydney. But yeah, this is the team we're used to. This is the team that dominated season 4 until that grand final. Burling's back. So it could be lined up for the finish here, Todd. If they can make it round that right-hand turn, they'll just do a simple right turn and then blast in under the adrenaline lounge. So we're really at the end of the race here. Burling takes one last look back. Liv Mackay will have her eyes firmly trained on the Spanish boat. It looks pretty smooth on board. Man, a few words, Peter Burling there.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of talk on board, is there? So they'll make the right-hand turn, and then they can see the finish line dead ahead. There you see the red buoy on the left. There's the adrenaline lounge, and the fans will get on their feet as they tip their cap to the winners of race number 1. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of New Zealand.
Big result for the Black Foils. Pressure on, and that Emirates winning moment's going to feel so good for the New Zealand team there. Really let the sailing do the talking for them, but they struggled in Sydney. They needed a good result. They also know that Spain, well, the defending champions of season 4, but also in Los Angeles, defending champions, they bring it home second. Diego, good result. And with Australia well back in the pack, that's for the season as a whole. This is a pretty huge result.
Looks like Canada will hold on for third. Giles Scott, North Star Canada, get a good opening race finish in third. Emirates GBR looking very good, and then the Swiss coming into picture.
Nice one for Giles Scott. Dylan Fletcher on board Emirates Great Britain. Well, they've chipped away through the fleet. The coach, Rob Wilson, he'll be over the moon with a race like that. To be in sort of 7th position at the bottom of the course, and just to chip away up to 4th. Little gains, small gains, nothing flashy, nothing clever. The British will be one of the happier teams at the end of that race.
Swiss will round out the top 5, and then France back on the water. Quentin Delapierre, they had issues yesterday during practice, and now they're back out there with that brand new beautiful wing. Kylian Mbappe, part of the team. L'Oreal joining the squad as well, so they are a well-financed squad with a lot of talent. And now the Americans making a last-second pass around that last buoy. They'll get around Germany.
Yeah, they did a really great job. Isn't it funny to think of the French team, though, Todd? We were talking about them struggling to make it to the season, and suddenly they've got more sponsors than you can possibly wish for. It looks like a billboard, that French boat now. Clearly, Quentin Delapierre is well worth it.
Germany Deutsche Bank, they will check in 8th place, and now the slow crawl. Australia's gotten themselves back into it, but I don't think they have the steam, Stevie, to get around the Italians.
No, they may be just quite. Looks like Germany's got a good result for the US team there, because they were in the pack and had a little bit of backwards momentum in that race, which is always hard to stem, but they stayed pretty calm, and they've done a nice job. Again, happy with that 7th, right at the back here. Well, Australia, big debrief needed. Something went very wrong in the pre-start. Got a lot of weed around the foil, and that wheel on the hydrofoil just means they're not working as efficiently, and if you've got weed on your foil, you're not going to get up and flying very easily.
And Brazil will come across in 11th place, which means they will pick up 0 points. Denmark, again, having that incident when they hit the marker out in the water, so their shore crew is now looking after their boat, seeing if they can make the repairs in time to get Rockwell, Denmark back out onto the water. So Brazil, Denmark, the big losers in that first race, picking up 0 points, but it's New Zealand, Spain, and Canada, the top 3 as we now go down on the water. Peter Burling back in the winner's circle. Pete, yesterday's practice, no indication of what it was like today. You've got the sunshine out, the conditions could not be much better. What was the key to that victory, Pete, in race number 1?
Yeah, we just managed to get a great start and then elevate from there. Been doing a lot of work between these races. It's a lot nicer how much warmer it is today than yesterday. It was pretty cold yesterday for those that saw any of our practice racing, but we'll be back into another one soon.
Yeah, Pete, it certainly looked like you warmed up pretty nicely out there. Now, from our side, it looked very, very busy. You might not have noticed the 12 boats on the water. Is that race course an awful lot tighter with an extra boat?
To be honest, it felt tight with 10, so the extra couple don't seem to make too much difference. Yeah, not sure what happened to Denmark, but we bit of a shame they didn't manage to finish that one. And yeah, you just got to keep your nose clean. We've been plenty of time in the pack over the years, so it's nice to get one out front.
Pete, appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck in the next 3 races today. So it's New Zealand that gets the win in race number 1, and they start things off well here in Los Angeles. A great job by them. They got away from the trouble, and they made it happen. As we now take a look at our Emirates fly time, it goes the way to North Star Canada and Giles Scott, 85% of the time, and they use that flight time to get themselves in a top 3 finish. New Zealand, Spain, and Canada, your top 3. Well, a beautiful day here in day number 1. This is the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, event 4 of season 5. This is the Rolex SailGP Championship. The Southland on display here in glorious sunshine on the Pacific Coast.
Got a lot of camber in that wing. Oh, it's inverted the wrong way. No.
USA Chase, USA Chase. This is Mothership on private. Yeah, good copy, mate. Happy for you to go alongside them and help them out.
Have we got visuals on the wing or not?
It's something that we didn't need as an organisation at this point when we're trying to introduce new componentry. We're trying to increase the number of spares, and we would have been in great shape in Los Angeles had this incident not happened. So we're going to have a full review as to why that actually happened and how those mistakes were made.
These guys are very aware of the dangers of these boats, and you spook the herd a little bit when something that big happens that soon. And I think that rattles everybody, and then the decision-making changes and the movements of the boats change, and it tends to lead into a bit more of a disastrous day.
Team Italy are pushing really hard now.
Boy. Hell, idiots.
Tech HQ, this is Mothership.
Yeah, go ahead, Mothership.
Yeah, we've got damage to the back of the Italian boat. We've suggested they stop sailing for the day.
Germany are going for a really tight cross with Brazil here. Oh, they don't have the right of way. Brazil's coming in fast.
They were just behind the windscreen, so it's covered. And when I saw them, they were already like in a full crash mode. We did the best we could. We tried to finish up in a way that we were like forking them, so none of the hulls would touch so hard. And I think we did a good job.
Absolutely kidding me.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Day number 1 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, event 4 of season 5. This is the Rolex Sail Grand Prix Championship. Alongside Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin, I am Todd Harris. One race is complete. New Zealand takes the 10 points. Spain finishes second. Canada in third, just ahead of the current leaders of the overall Emirates GBR. The Americans finished 7th, so a nice return to action for them after missing out in Australia because of the broken wing. And there is the teams all lining themselves up. Stevie, Hannah, we're hearing that Australia is possibly asking for a delay, but so far we are still on 3 minutes to go until race number 2. Well, the entire fleet is in the start area. That does not mean they are all ready to race. You see the top of your screen, it is Rockwell, Denmark having their issues as we go on board France. 2:45 to go. And a new look for them, Stevie. They're bringing out all kinds of branding. And when you put Kylian Mbappe on your team, I mean, that's not a bad place to start.
Well, look at that. Accor, L'Oreal, Kylian Mbappe. I mean, it's something else, isn't it? It's for a team that was struggling to find sponsorship, it speaks volume for you know how well Contan's doing, building that team, the value they see. Sailing's huge in France, and it's kind of what they need, a big team in SailGP. We need them, and they're going to be surely very happy. The branding looks good. They've not had a lot of sailing this season, but surely if you've got a World Cup soccer winner like Kylian Mbappe in your team, it's got to be pretty good for their confidence.
Well, Content Delapierre just so happy to be back on the water again with a full team. Remember, they had issues getting that boat ready, and we caught up with him before the start of today's race and got his thoughts on being here in Los Angeles.
It's an unbelievable news. Super happy because I think Kylian just give us some big inspiration from his career, and personally super happy to have him on our side. Yeah, first we are okay for today. I think the tech team did a really good job. But yeah, yesterday we just had no time on training because we had an issue on the starboard board. Was not locking. So yeah, I mean, we were able to do the starts, the ridge, and the first downwind, but as soon as we were upwind, we were just unable to tack because of the issue on the starboard lock. So yeah, we just had to focus on refitting the boat.
So while it's great news for France with the addition of L'Oreal and Kylian Mbappe, Stevie and Hannah, it's terrible news for Rockwell, Denmark. They are done for the day.
Yeah, that crash at the left turn at the bottom there has put damage in. We're going to have to get the boat out and check it, and we'll find out more about that later. So disaster for Rotterdam, Denmark, but that was a mistake, and you can't make mistakes like this at this level of the sport. We see the start setting up against here, 37 seconds to go there. The Black Foils, where they won race one, they started towards the upwind end of the start line that time and just used pure speed to get over the top. Burling set that same thing up towards the top of our screen, bottom of our screen. Canada and Spain. Australia, they're in a bit of a fight now. Australia are struggling here. They need a good start to get themselves back into the racing. We see the pole predictor sits on Great Britain, but I do not see how they're going to worm their way through from there. In the middle of the line, well positioned, it's the USA. Top of the line, it's New Zealand. They're up and foiling with 8 seconds to go. Burling spins the wheel. He lines up the start line. We're looking for that line to turn. White, how's your timing, Pete Burling? Oh, he's on the money again at the top. He's going to have a faster angle, but further to sail. Have the Kiwis judged it right for 2 for 2?
So the winners of race number 1, the Black Foils in New Zealand, look to have the whole shot as the entire fleet now comes together at mark number 1. Who's going to hold their nerve? It will be the Black Foils, the Kiwis. Take the whole shot at mark 1. Peter Burling working his magic on the Pacific.
Have a look at it, Todd. There's 5 wide around mark 1. Absolutely on the money there. Black Foils and New Zealand, and Giles Scott on board. Canada again going well as Spain fall off the foils. They park up there. They've stopped in the middle of the road. Oh, it's going to be tight, but again, out in front, the Rolex Sprint leader. It's New Zealand, and it's really, really tight back in the pack.
You can see just how easy it is to get away if you're in front, but if you're in the middle of the pack, executing those maneuvers becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah, and a mistake by the Spanish. Look, left-hand side of our screen, they just did not execute well after Mark 1, fell off the foils, and now there's in no wind, stuck behind the rest of the fleet, as out in front, New Zealand take the left turn at the DP World Gate, and Canada and Giles Scott well positioned.
So it's wash, rinse, and repeat for New Zealand as they do almost the same thing they did in race number 1. They opt for that left-hand side, they split away. The Germans will go with them as Canada and Switzerland opt for the other side, as well as Australia and Brazil. So now the chase is on. Who's going to find the pressure first? We check down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, has anything changed from race number 1 that you can see? And now we just have 11 boats with Denmark done for the day.
Nothing's really changed, Todd. It's still super challenging out here. It's really, really gusty, thin gusts going around the racetrack.
Going forward.
All right, thank you, Lisa. There you see New Zealand, top of your screen, in first place. Their lead about 100 meters.
You can see there's a bit of a change in direction of the wind on the water. The Kiwis are in really nice lift of pressure, but Germans are just hooking into that pressure now. But you can see the boats on the left-hand side, the bottom of the screen, are really struggling out that corner.
That's right. We see here on the right-hand side, Australia, they look like they've done well, but they've made a bit of a loss. I think we can think now, Canada and New Zealand are going to be able to extend away here. Sounds quite calm on board. Liv Mackay, Pete Burling, they'll have had a plan before the start, and now they can execute it. What do you do if you're in the pack? And right now, for Germany in third, crucial race. Disastrous event in Sydney. Third place here. They need to make this stick. They need to stay in contention early on in Los Angeles.
This is event 4 of 13, and there's still a lot of sailing to go, Hannah Diamond, but as you know...
This is the umpires. Penalty Australia, port tack boat not keeping clear, go behind USA.
So the Australians give up another position. They will drop back to 7th. The USA will move ahead of them. And I was just to say, this is event 4 of 13. You've raced in this series before. You can't dig yourself a massive hole. It's just too hard to get out with the talent that's on the water.
No, and the level of this fleet, everyone's going to be learning so much all of the time. The racing's only getting harder to win, so you just can't afford to put yourself at the back of the fleet.
Stevie, the hardest thing do you think that they're learning right now, is it the size of the fleet with 12 in these small courses, or do you think it's the addition of those T-foils?
I think they're just learning everything. I think it would largely be the T-foils for the subtlety. I think the racing, they've all done a lot of racing. But I think the hardest thing they're having to deal with is yes, you're all set up and everything's going perfectly, but then all of a sudden you're completely compromised by the other boats around you, and what you thought you needed to do is just change. This pack here, Germany, Great Britain, United States, they're all coming in without the right of way here, or sorry, with the right of way, so they should have a relatively easy rounding. But where do they find space? And when the other boats cross, here comes Italy. Who's chosen the best route? Because one side of the course will have more wind than the other.
Right now it is New Zealand out in front. They currently sit in 4th place overall after these 3 events. Canada, they sit in 6th place overall after 3 events. So a big opportunity this weekend if they could keep this momentum going to move up the ladder.
What do you think? Go to boundary here.
Blackfoot, see how steady the boat is. See how the height above the water is staying so similar. The heel of the boat, is it angled towards us away? Well, it's just staying exactly the same. It's how Pete, Burling and Blair Tuke want it to be, and that's because they're able to see the wind they're in. They're clear. No one else is disturbing their course, and they can just easily loop their way around. They're now halfway through the race here. Not a lot to go, and they've just boosted away from the rest of the fleet. Bit of a masterclass from the Blackfoils. Canada are going well, and I think what speaks volumes to me, Todd, Australia are struggling to work back through the fleet. There's just no space to put down that horsepower, that extra speed they often have. It's so tight, they're getting stuck in the traffic.
And Stevie, as we've learned in past races and past years, if you're waiting for the Kiwis to make a mistake, you're going to be waiting for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the pack here, middle of our screen. How's that as the strategist on board there, Hannah? How are you finding a way through that?
It definitely feels quite hectic if you're the strategist in that position. And just finding a bit of space on the course has got to be the goal here for some of these teams.
I think fairly key's leading out of a gate here, so I wouldn't be expected to see an easy left turn, but Germany are going to split away. They're going to look to turn right, and it could be good news for Germany, but we see dark patch of water. United States and France are in that. That means more wind. More wind's good. It's going to make you go faster, so the French should be gaining up here. Australia and France are going to be tight coming into the bottom gate. It's all on in that pack, but who can find a little moment after the gate? Absolutely crucial to get up to speed as soon as you exit the gate.
Three-time champions Australia. They currently are mired back in 6th place. The first race they finished in 10th place, so they only picked up one single point. They've got to start picking up points. Remember, it is going to be 7 races, and the points you accumulate there will determine who gets into the big final on Sunday. That's only the top 3 teams on points.
Lisa, it seems a little bit like the boats are sailing a bit more open on the course. The left-hand side doesn't seem to be the only way to go. Is it changing down there at the moment?
Yeah, it feels like the wind's shifted slightly more left. So what that means is there's less of a wind shadow under the grandstands, and it's a more open course. So that's why you're seeing there's a little bit more space out here. It's not a one-way track anymore. But as you guys are saying, it's just about finding space out here because it's so condensed.
Not condensed for the Kiwis or the Canadians, as they are in clear water, no one within 200 meters of either boat, and it will be at gate number 5. The Kiwis opting for that right-hand side as they slow down just a little bit. See how low the boat gets in the water? They'll get up to speed, spin it around, and then they're off again. It's interesting to see, Stevie, to see what Canada does.
Well, it is. I think Canada will go straight here, and that was an interesting move by New Zealand because they did an extra manoeuvre. And I think it's what the teams in the pack do. One thing you know about doing a manoeuvre, you will lose distance. But the opportunity you might gain by losing that distance is you find space, you give yourself the opportunity to go at full speed, or you sail towards more wind. So the boats that manoeuvre better are going to make the gains. In Australia, look at that, from 6th up to 3rd. They did an early manoeuvre after the last gate, and they're right back in the race here. Huge moment for Slingsby and Co, as the Germans, well, one bad manoeuvre and they're back to 5th, but they're still right in it. Tash Bryant lining things up.
So Hannah Diamond, to Stevie's point, are you as a strategist looking not where you are currently, but where you're going to be in the next gate and further, and where the pressure is going to be? So you're basically anticipating, what, 2 or 3 maneuvers ahead?
Well, that's the whole challenge with being a strategist. You've got to keep an eye on what's going on right here, but also what's your next move.
Just remembering as well, Todd, all the time you're taking a compromised decision. There'll be a positive to either option. You're trying to just get the best risk and reward situation that you can find there. Australia, they decided we're going to follow Great Britain, but we're faster. We'll go around the outside, we'll sail more distance, but we set ourselves up for a smoother exit. And they're now sitting in 3rd place, but I like where the German team are heading here. And New Zealand, well, they seem to have made a bit of a mistake at the bottom of the course.
Oh, my.
I think they might have weed on the rudder there or something, some seaweed, some kelp around the rudder, slowing them up. It all got a bit wobbly, but they're back in the game. Opportunity for Canada.
So Canada has closed the gap now, just 6 seconds behind the leaders, the Kiwis, the winners of race number 1. Canada finishing in 3rd place in race number 1. So they picked up the 8 points as opposed to New Zealand's 10 points.
That rolling chasing time. The Canadians are chipping away at it. They're slowly coming in. It's still a reasonable lead for the New Zealand team. They're going very wide on the course up there, trying to minimise the manoeuvres on this upwind leg. And Australia, what a job they've done here. Slingsby and Tash Bryant have found some gold around this course because they're right back in it from being stuck in the pack. Once again, Emirates Great Britain chipping away, fighting well in the middle of the pack.
Brazilians on the nose. Below, high, above.
It sounded a little bit complicated there. It's getting busy. They've got to keep clear of the Brazilian boat. They're going to be slow after that. That's going to hand it to New Zealand, but they have avoided a collision. Oh, that was tight.
And once again, the Kiwis find themselves in open space. They opt for that left-hand side. The Canadians have to get through the traffic. And look at this, it's now down to 100 meters, but Peter Burling has not showed a penchant for making mistakes in late versions of the races, so no reason to believe he's going to do that now.
No, probably just one more manoeuvre to go for him. We see that yellow line, bottom left-hand corner of our screen. That's the lay line, so when they get to that and turn, they'll be able to make it to the final mark with no more manoeuvres, and it'll just be a home run for the black foils. They're well set up, came down to a great start. Here we go, we see right now they're in more wind speed, they're going faster. That's what that stat's showing us on the Oracle Cloud. They're great gains for the New Zealand boat.
And it's so much easier when you're out in front. You've got more time to make decisions. You've got no one in the way of your clear air getting around the course. So you can just take a breath, take a moment to make that right decision rather than having to react all the time to other people.
This is leg 7 of 8, the penultimate leg here. They will make a right-hand turn once they get through this next gate, and they will see the finish line, and it will be deja vu all over again as the Kiwis will come in front of Adrenaline Lounge. And seriously, Stevie, the metronome that is Peter Burling, whether he's winning or losing, the emotion stays flatline.
Yeah, he definitely lets the boat do the talking. That is to be sure, But they are well away here. 2 perfect starts, and they've brought it home beautifully.
And that will wrap up race number 2. The Emirates winning moment once again goes the way of New Zealand. The Black Foils claim their 2nd win in a row in Los Angeles.
That was some result. I think it's going to be tight back in the pack again. The 2nd place there, that Emirates winning moment, well, straight over to Burling. He'll be happy with that. Of course he will. How could he not be happy with that? They struggled in Sydney. They've gone well again here. Canada have done well, but it's Australia and Great Britain. Australia have pulled their way back up through the fleet. They're doing well. And once we start adding up the points, I think what's more important now that we've got more boats in the fleet is how you do get these good average results up, because we're already thinking about that 3-boat final tomorrow.
And Emirates GBR coming back strong with a close cross with Australia here.
And it looks like Australia's going to make that turn, and it looks like they will be able to hold off Emirates GBR. So the Aussies will pick up 4th, and Emirates GBR will pick up 5th.
Okay, the Australians.
So the Australians will get 3rd, and GBR will get 4th.
Yeah, beautiful comeback by the Australians. That could be absolutely huge in the fullness of this race here. The Germans are holding on for a decent 5th place. United States, again, sailing nicely around the course here. Much more of a middle-of-the-pack race there. They seem to be finding the little bits of space in the race, that is for sure. Germany, good result. Italy, good result for them as well. But the Swiss and the Brazilians, they are struggling out the back. And our Season 4 champions, Spain, well, they've got the right of way here. United States have got to keep clear. You've got to keep clear, United States here. They've got to watch out. They're going to slow them up. Could be a real problem for the United States. They're going to be so slow after this. France are going to come through on the inside. Who's going to have the right of way? I think United States. France can't go in there. They're not allowed in there. He's got to keep clear just in time. But Spain, brilliant through Botin. Canfield holds on for 8th, and another tricky race for the French.
I know, but we can go up with your max right. We're good, we're good.
So the French will hold on to 9th place after a close call with US SailGP team. The Americans go 7th and 8th in the first 2 races, and Brazil was going to come across in 9th. Actually make that 10th for the Brazilians. Mubadala Brazil will come in 10th place, and they will get the final point. Again, the Swiss will finish in 11th, so no points for them. And of course, Denmark unable to go, so that rounds out the fleet of 12.
It's going to be a bit of a reset on that Swiss boat, because these flat water, shiftiest conditions, I kind of fancied them to go quite well. It's quite like lake sailing in that Los Angeles harbour, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right. You'd think these conditions would suit them, and they have been, you know, getting close to some really good performances. So let's hope to see them step it up in the next race.
And Swiss, though, in the first race get a 5th place, but they do not come back with a big performance here. They finish in 11th, so no points for them. Brazil finishes in 10th. They do pick up a point. The French go 9th, the USA in 8th. And it's New Zealand that wins the 2nd race in a row. Canada with another top 3 finish, but this time it's the Australians bouncing back from their 10th place finish in race number 1. And the Aussies finish in 3rd, 1 spot ahead of Emirates GBR, who finished in 4th. And a nice performance for Germany, Deutsche Bank in 5th.
Well, we look back at that start, and it was the simple example of a faster angle for the Black Foils versus a shorter distance for Canada. Burling just hit the line so fast that at Mark Wilde, he crept round the front. Liv Mackay, wow, her eyesight was pretty sharp for that, Hannah.
Yeah, it's certainly a bit of a scary moment sometimes because your vision isn't great when you're going past there, but absolute confidence you need to be leading at Mark 1.
Yeah, and if you're not leading at Mark 1, it's all about then not making mistakes. As we saw in the pack there, the Spanish, they came off the foils. It's so tight in there, you're reacting to the other boats, whereas when you're out in front, like the black foils, you can just sail the boat a lot smoother, and it's a lot easier as a strategist. I mean, as soon as you're in the pack here, it's just so hard visibility-wise, isn't it, Han?
Yeah, that's right, and I think where you put your attention between the boats next to you and the next move is really, really hard call. So just minimizing the distractions, making the right call is pretty tricky hard to do.
Well, a great race once again, especially if you're a Kiwi fan, as they go 1-1 in the first 2 races of 4 here in Los Angeles. What a performance by the Kiwis. The Black Foils reign supreme on the Pacific. As we take a look at the Emirates fly time, once again, it is Canada this time with 88% fly time, and the Canadians back up the 3rd they got in race number 1. They get 2nd in race number 2. So let's take a look at the standings. 2 races down, 2 more to go. No question about it. It's New Zealand the class of the field with 20 points. Canada sits in 2nd. Emirates GBR currently would get that 3rd and final transfer position. But for the rest of the fleet, a big opportunity coming up. There are 2 more races to go, and the Americans desperately need some performances. Well, after a dramatic capsize in practice, racing ruled out Team USA in Sydney. It was over to SailGP Technologies in Southampton as they raced to repair the Americans' broken wing. Skipper Taylor Canfield's team desperate to pick up points and put on a show in front of the home crowd here in Los Angeles.
Team USA capsized on their way towing out to the race course on a training day in Sydney. Unfortunately damaged the top of their wing.
So once myself and the team assess the damages on site in Sydney, we can refer back to Joel and the team here at SailGP Technologies and try and come up with a plan and how we can get that boat back out on the water as fast as possible.
Once we identified the parts that needed replacement, we were into constructing and putting extra personnel onto these jobs here in the UK facility. Hydraulic fit out, electronic fit out and branding. And then we're into the whole logistics, so working out how we're going to get these essential items to the event, freight carriers, and then constructing the boxes to house them and to ship these parts around the world without sustaining damage.
So myself and the tech team will do everything we can to get that boat back out sailing for LA. There's obviously a large scale of work that's required. The team here behind me are obviously working night and day to pursue that and get them sailing and racing for their home event in LA.
We have a wing. It's going up, I think, probably as we speak. So. No, we're pumped. Yeah, we're looking forward to being out there and to have wing ready for our home event. Obviously, it's huge. So, yeah, a lot of effort went into it, and happy to be back out racing. I think we made the most of it. We were on shore in the coach's booth and seeing the racing from a different perspective and watching all the data. Yeah, we made some great gains in the meantime, and I feel like the team is in great shape for this week.
So 3.5 minutes to go until the next race. That'll be the 3rd race. Plus, there's a 4th one still to come. So there are still 20 points to be had out there. But right now, the Kiwis being very greedy here in Los Angeles as they have claimed the first 2 races in dominant fashion. Canada looking very good as well as they sit 2nd overall. Emirates GBR currently in 3rd. So as we get a look at the pre-start right now, all the teams getting back into the water. If you're just joining us here in Los Angeles for day number 1 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, Denmark had an incident. Rockwell, Denmark hitting a marker in the first race. They are done for the day. So what was 12 is now 11 as all the teams now take on whatever they need to get themselves ready for the second half of today's race. And just moments ago, as we see Emirates GBR sitting there, Lisa Darmanin catching up with their skipper, Dylan Fletcher.
Dylan, it's pretty tough out here. What's the trick to this race course? You guys have had 2 keepers.
Yeah, it's plenty tricky enough, and there's a bit of weed around. We picked up that some on it and consistent, and hopefully we can have a better start this time.
And the Kiwis, they're dominating right now, but are you going to try win the start and win the race? Is that the key?
Yeah, we always want to win the start and win the race, so yeah, we'll give it everything.
Awesome. Good luck, Dylan.
Clear message there from Dylan, really, win the start. And that's, I think, what New Zealand, clearly that's what New Zealand have done well. What's interesting is they've had a different strategy to the whole rest of the fleet. They've been towards the upwind end of the line. They've seemingly been in space. I don't know if everyone's scared of them. I'm not sure entirely what it is, but they've had space. What's going to be really the key for me is, can the other teams adapt their strategy? The fight for the downwind end of the line, it doesn't seem to be working.
No, that's right, and I think with more boats on the start line, there's going to be so much harder to start at the bottom end, but if you can pull it off, it's a closer angle to that Mark 1, so, you know, you've got to be fighting for that bottom end, but watching for the Kiwis at the top end of the line again.
The interesting thing about New Zealand, though, Stevie, is Peter Burling is a chameleon. He doesn't do the same thing twice. So if you think, oh, he's going to go to the back corner and come in full speed, and then he changes it up, he goes, oh, this time I'll try the other side and come in slower. He is very crafty.
He is, but he's been struggling with his start in the start of season 5. I was talking to Nathan Outridge last week, and, you know, saying, oh, what have you heard from the Kiwis? And he said, oh, they just need to start well, don't they? I mean, you know, simplify the game. And, you know, so I'm sure that Pete will have analysed that. He's, you know, he's no idiot. Clearly, he's knows how to solve the problem, but here they have found the space. He might have to adapt here as we look on board here. For Pete and for Blair, well, that whole discussion around the angle's the key, and then for Liv Mackay, well, it's kind of easy for her if they're out in front. We're going to see her have to earn her money if they don't get to Mark 1 in first.
Peter Burling, a 3-time America Cup champion, Olympic gold medalist, so to Stevie's point, he definitely knows what he's doing out there as he confers with the Wind Whisperer and see what he can get done here as race number 3 is set to go. So 11 teams now in the start box here in the Port of Los Angeles. Denmark, Rockwell, Denmark, unable to go as they had a collision with a marker, so they are out. What was 12 is now 11. We're now 21 seconds away, Stevie, from the start of race 3.
Yeah, and they have switched up the strategy. Left-hand side of screen, United States. They're in the position that's paid so far, but I think they might be a little far back. We're waiting for this line to turn white. New Zealand are having to fight hard in the middle of the line. They're a bit close. Brazil and Canada look well positioned. We're watching for the line to turn white. It's going to be early on New Zealand, I think. New Zealand are early. They're over early. So are Switzerland.
Early start penalty, Switzerland and New Zealand.
Oh, they've got to go to the back of the pack, and I think it's going to be Canada on the inside here. Right-hand side of our screen. Canada and France are going to be the ones drag racing into Mark 1. United States have come in, but it's going to be a little bit too late. I think they're going on the outside of the bend as we get to Mark 1. Canada are going to make it happen.
And at mark number 1, they are 3 wide as it's Canada on the inside, France in the middle, and the USA on the outside as they make the turn.
We got the top right-hand corner of the screen. That's gate 2. That's where they're all heading. There's going to be one more manoeuvre to get there. United States will be able to manoeuvre when they get to the boundary.
This is the umpires. Switzerland, early start penalty not complete. Go behind all boats in the fleet. All boats in the fleet.
They didn't get far enough back. Well, that's, you know, not really a major problem for them. They're already struggling. So for New Zealand, for Spain, how can they work back through the fleet? But Canada have manoeuvred well on the boundary. France are ahead in theory, but they're going to start to feel the pain from the disturbed air onto them. And the United States, well, here we go. Taylor Canfield, this is your chance. He's going to be well set for a right turn, I'd say.
And a good shot there as you go on board the Americans.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain. Relative New Zealand.
Chief umpire Craig Mitchell doling out the penalties early.
He's dishing them out of the back of the pack. The real fight's taking place to the right-hand side of our screen as Canada do lead. France does a nice surrounding. Anyone that's seen any road racing, wide in, close out's the key here. United States are going around the outside, and in the middle of the screen, Brazil and Italy, they're having a bit of a battle. I like Marcini's tactics here with the right turn. She's going to lead out of this right turn. She will have space in the middle of the pack, and that is not easy to find, but how well can she use it? Got to keep that Brazilian boat flat out all the way now.
And Hannah, we're going to find out just how good the Kiwis are right now because they sit currently in 9th place, the winners of the first 2 races, and we'll see Peter Burling go to work, see if he can work up through the fleet.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes it's not all about winning these early races. It's about crawling back as much as you can if you have a bad start in some of the others. If they can get to top 5, that's going to be a great result for them here.
Good point.
Nice by Brazil. Little manoeuvre on the boundary there. They show a second and the wind's rotated a bit left. It looks like they're progressing up the ladder lines quite nicely towards the right-hand side here. We can see the USA. They're up on foiling now, but they did get slow for a while as Brazil and France. Brazil need to keep clear. They do just keep clear, but they're in the pack. United States have found themselves back in the pack a little bit as well. It's really, really tricky if you don't get first dibs at the bottom gate.
And there are the Americans as we get a good look at the T-foil cam brought to you by T-Mobile for Business. As the Americans are trying to fight their way up to Hannah's point, trying to scrap as many points as they can. Obviously, a 6th is better than a 7th. A 5th is much better than a 6th, Stevie. You want to be in the top 3 after the 7 fleet races between the 2 days, and then you get yourself into the final, and then all those scores go away, and it's a 1 race for the title.
Yeah, they're adding points. And Lisa, it looks like that wind's rotated left again, maybe here. It seems like the course is getting tricky again.
141, all good.
It's been tricky all. It's pretty much the same. It's gusty, it's shifty, it's challenging. But I mean, the Canadians, they've had a great day so far. They've always been up there and they've had, you know, given it away or given distance away. So I'm really impressed with how they're sailing the boat out here today. And yeah, they're really in tune with what this weather is doing.
He's coming.
So New Zealand continuing to move up. They currently sit in 9th, the winners of the first 2 races. But Stevie, right now the consistency award's got to go to North Star Canada and Giles Scott.
Yeah, it does. And you can see right now they're just in that dark patch of water. They're in what you call a lane of breeze. So there was just one patch streaking across the course. And Canada, we see them right now. So, oh, they've got to keep clear of Brazil. They do just keep clear. Martini Grail's found a beautiful route on this upwind leg at the moment. It's going to be really tight in here. Lee McMillan calls for a fat ley line. He wants to give space coming into gate number 3. It's going to be very tight. They won't have the right of way. They're going to look for a right turn. Canada and France, left-hand side of our screen, they've got the right of way. Brazil have got to keep clear.
Looks like Canada's going to have to do another maneuver.
Yeah, might have to do another 2 here potentially, Todd, because they've got to watch out for the French. They've got to get into this zone, then they can manoeuvre and they'll be allowed to turn left. France have got to give them room to turn left. Oh, France swing around aggressive from De La Pierre. Wow, that was tight, but the French make it happen. It was worth it for Quentin De La Pierre there as the right turn for Martini Grail, and Brazil could be well set here halfway through the race, and this is a big lead for Brazil at this point.
Mubadala Brazil goes into the lead. It is France that moves into second by some Kylian Mbappe fancy footwork as they get it done. They sit second, Australia third, and Canada goes from 1st to 4th. And how about the Americans? They are now up to 5th place.
Yeah, nice job at the top. As soon as you get slow in the pack, you lose a lot of distance quickly. So it's how do I find a space on the race course to keep going really fast? And that's big on the strategist, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, it is. And I think you've got to be sailing the boat well as well. If you can sail the boat fast, then the strategy is easy from there. But it seems like the wind's just dropped a little bit. We're seeing more like 20 kilometers an hour at the moment, which makes it so much more critical to land some of the maneuvers.
It is Mubadala Brazil that is out in front. And they lead for the first time here at the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Hopefully we can go on board and listen in Martini Grail and company.
Nice smooth manoeuvre, that one, Todd. This would be their first ever race win in SailGP. So hold your breath a little bit on board Mubadala Brazil, but we've still got 2 legs to go. We're on leg 4 of 6 here in the race. Crucial rounding at this bottom gate.
Yeah, just fast. Point at the mark. Don't go down at all, it'll be too slow.
Lee McMillan just wants the wing trimmer on board the Brazilian boat, just wants her to keep the speed in there, wants Mubadala Brazil to stay fast. Well, you got France going to split right turn, Australia on your heels, big upwind leg here, and it doesn't look like a lot of wind towards the top of our screen. I like the wind where France is heading right now.
Right gate bias, and you've got 1 and in at the moment. So equal. Left turn is preferable for the final upwind.
There you go. Well, that's the coach of the Canadian boat talking for the booth. He's looking at the tactical apps. He's called left turn. Well, Canada's gone left turn, but is there much wind on that side where Brazil are heading? We'll find out in about 30 seconds when France and Brazil meet up again. I love the breeze where France is at the moment. Lisa, have you got a favoured side of the course right now?
I think where Mubadala Brazil tack, they're actually still in a good amount of pressure, but if they came any further to where Australia is, they're a little bit more high risk, so it's going to be neck and neck, but they look okay right now from my eyes.
Good speed now, coming up.
They've got the right of way, Todd. When the 2 boats meet, they have got the right of way, but to me, oh, it's really tight. France, left-hand side of screen, Brazil, middle of our screen. This cross could be crucial, and don't forget about the ruse. Tom Slingsby's not going away anywhere fast.
There we are, fast. Right now. Good angle there.
Just ahead, gain to France.
Keep nudging it up.
Oh man,
oh, here we go, another crossing.
Oh, ne passe pas, that was so tight. They didn't see him till too late, man Tom had to shout really loud. Costly for the French. They've avoided the collision. They're still in the race, but that was a big moment. They needed to see them earlier.
And now it's Australia that has moved into second place. Brazil still number one, France in third.
Crucial here, can Brazil get across in front? Australia's got the right of way, it's just ahead. Now it's all about, will Brazil make this final gate with no more manoeuvres? They've got a little wider on Australia. Australia will be quicker. France will be coming back with the right of way. They will be on the inside of the turn. But if Brazil can line up this right turn, I think they'll be far enough ahead to bring it home.
So here we go. This is leg 5 of 6, race number 3, and Brazil looking to make history with Martini Grail at the wheel. Can she bring it home for Mubadala Brazil?
Here we go, crucial here. Brazil need to make that right-hand turn mark. They look like they're lined up for the moment. They are clear of France. They do lead them. However, look, 15 kilometres an hour faster on board Australia. It's going to go all the way to the finish. Tom Slingsby's on a charge. They're so slow on board Brazil at the moment, Todd.
They are foiling, but here come the Roos off their left-hand side. Tom Slingsby's not going to make it easy for Martini Grail as she spins the boat. Does she leave an opening for...
Slingsby
yes,
will go inside. Slingsby will go inside here, Todd. He's thread the needle. It's a sprint to the finish.
And it looked like Mubadala Brazil was going to get a history-making win, but the Emirates-winning moment goes the way of our old nemesis, the 3-time champions. Tom Slingsby ruins the day for the Brazilians.
Oh, Slingsby with the slingshot at the finish. What a move. What a race by Martini Grail and that Mubadala Brazil team. Contant de la Pierre, well, he nearly wrote 2 F50s off in the blink of an eye halfway up that leg, but they did a great job to avoid a collision. And perhaps crucially here, United States and Canada, there's going to be tight round the top here. United States are going to get round for
They've got the speed.
Brilliant race for the US team here. They come round the outside. Pretty happy on board that US boat, and look, back of the pack, New Zealand. Well, if you don't get the first mark first, it's not as easy out there, is it?
It really shows how you've got to work out your approach to the finish. It's fine if you get around that mark first, but if you're coming in with more speed, they've got time to get round.
Yeah, look at this, so tight for Spain and Great Britain. Spain have got the right of way. They've got to keep clear on board Emirates, Great Britain, but they're so slow. Both boats are slow. Where's the opportunity for the Swiss? The Swiss are going to dive inside, but they've fallen off the foils here. They're all slow. Oh,
and it looks like Emirates GBR is going to creep across just in the nick of time. Everyone, both holes. And here come the Kiwis.
Kiwis are coming round hot. Oh, Burling. What a move. Oh, Burling's got round the top of them. What a comeback to 8.
As the umpires back to penalty New Zealand.
Oh, and it goes for Nutt.
Oh, he's going to drop back there. Oh, the Kiwis are going to drop back, certainly behind Great Britain, potentially all the way back behind the Swiss. That's going to go to the umpires. We'll find out exactly how much they lose there.
And it's going to be Emirates GBR, Spain, and Switzerland that will creep across the line as we wait to find out where Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell is going to put Peter Burling. Drive it like he stole it, Stevie. He got a 3-for-1 there as he took those 3 boats on the outside and just came to the inside, said it was just a little too close, not liking that.
Yeah, well, they can't. They got too close. There's a boundary towards the left-hand side, right under the fans. Otherwise, they could end up in the booth there. And that was tight. But what was tight was the finish. So we should get down in the water and talk to the Australian skipper, Tom Slingsby, because that was some slingshot at the top there.
Tom, you guys are on the rise. You started off with a 10th, then a 3rd, and now a win. What has been the difference between race number 1 and now?
The big difference is not having weed all over your foils and being able to get on the foil. That helped. The first race, yeah, we were backing down before the start, but as we came to enter, we just realised we couldn't foil, and we had a ton of seaweed on, and so that was really tough in that first race. But since then, we're coming good, we're getting better, and that was a good finish at that last one.
And Tom, looks like when you're stuck in the pack, it's pretty hard. What's the advice for anyone? How do you actually overtake when you are in the middle of the group?
Oh, look, I'd love the help if anyone's got some, but it's tough. It's clean. You got to be able to somehow find clear wind with 10 boats ahead of you, which is not easy, but every now and then you get a little lane that might open up. There might be 2 boats fighting, and all of a sudden you get a nice little lane, and then you can work your way back into it after that. But it's tough going on such a tight racetrack, and speed on the left side of the course is making everyone want to go right.
Tom, appreciate your time. You and your wing trimmer, Chris Draper. We got full faith in you guys for the 4th and final race of the day as we now take a look at the highlights, Stevie, from a very exciting race number 3.
Well, it was. Of course, the start was pretty crucial. We zoom in and we see New Zealand had to do a big blocking move there in front of Germany, but it got them to the start too early, and that left the door open for the United States to the left of the screen, Canada to the right. They had space, and it was a shorter distance for Canada, more distance for USA, but it was the shorter distance that paid this time round, and it was Canada just that led at Mark 1, and it was tight from here, wasn't it, Hannah? 3 wide.
Yeah, it was, and I think we saw a little bit less wind in this race, which just made it so much closer. You can see some really close top gate action, people having to decide which gate they were going to go, but also avoiding the other boats on the course.
Yeah, and you can see avoiding boats, that's the thing. I mean, I think what we perhaps lose sight of here is how hard it is to see on these boats, and it does get tight, but if you get slow, it can hurt. Slingsby saw an opportunity right at the end there, Todd, and well, there was no mercy from Tom Slingsby in front of the fans there, was there?
No, he was not going to hand that victory to Martini Grail and Mubunda Brazil as he slings right by and says, thank you very much, I'll take the 10 points. And that was your Emirates winning moment. The Australians used to pulling that off as we now take a look at the Emirates fly time. And how about Mubunda Brazil? What a great race for them. They finished in 2nd place in race number 3. Their fly time, 78%. They'll look to duplicate that in race number 4. So 3 races up, 3 races down, 1 more critical race to go, and now it is Canada who has taken the lead. 23 points to New Zealand's 22. Australia now has made the cut line at 19. Emirates GBR on 17. France has moved up there in striking distance, and a great finish by the Americans. US SailGP coming to pick up that extra point to finish in 4th place. They now all even, 14-14 with Spain. So the fans continue to enjoy the beautiful day here in California. Far cry from what it was yesterday with the stormy weathers. And it's the Canadians that lead after 3 races with 1 more still to go. So there you see the 11 boats that are participating in race number 4. Reminder, Rockwell, Denmark had a collision with a marker. They are unable to go, so what was 12 is now 11. And it looks like Canada is really the class of the field today, Stevie, as we are now under 3:46 to go until the final race.
Well, it is, and I think it's interesting, during that race, we did actually hear from the Canadian coach, Joe Glanfield. Hopefully we're going to be able to go into Race HQ. The coaches are on the shore in Los Angeles here. They got all the data, they got everything that's up in the Oracle Cloud.
There it is.
We got a little chance. There's Joe, looks like he's sat down at the front, going to distract him from his work out there. Joe, you seem to make a pretty big call at the bottom of that course. It didn't maybe go as perfectly for the Canadians on the upwind, but you seem to be starting well today.
Yeah, I know, typical, eh? When I make a call, it goes wrong. But, no, they're starting really well, and it's beautiful conditions, and a lot is just keeping fast and keeping clear. And we got a few bad lanes there and lost a few boats, but generally starting well and keeping it simple.
Joe, you're starting to see some gelling between the squad. You've got Giles Scott, Annie Hager on board today, Paul Campbell, James. It seems like you guys are really starting to sail so well together, and it really started in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, we're working at it, and we're getting there. You know, you change your view every race. Some races it really feels like you're getting there. Other races it feels like there's a few steps to go. But we're working hard, and it feels like things are moving in the right direction.
All right, Joe, we appreciate your time. Continued success to you. And North Star Canada with race number 4 on the horizon. There are the Canadians, Giles Scott on the far right side. And I'll tell you what, the Canadians, they are the hot team right now. The neighbors to the north looking very good here in Los Angeles on a picture-perfect day as we now approach 2:10 to go until the 4th and final race of the day.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Well, day 1 of racing on the West Coast in Los Angeles has already seen some dramatic racing out on the mighty Pacific in front of a sellout grandstand. But LA is just the first stop in SailGP's North American triple header. San Francisco, the host venue of last season's finale, up next, and opportunities are still available to grab tickets there. And then the Big Apple to see some of the world's best sailors in action on these F-50s. The United States Tour continues in California. The epic show-stopping backdrop of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco will test the 12 world-class teams. It's an iconic, action-packed venue. Do not miss out. After a first-time stop in Brazil,
Look at Mubadala, Brazil.
it's the Big Apple that concludes the U.S. Tour. Make sure you're in the grandstand at Governor's Island to witness the F-50's flyby in New York City. Exciting days ahead for Season 5. Here it is, event number 4, Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin with you on a picture-perfect California day. Hannah, yesterday it was cold, it was miserable, it was gray, and now we're 40 seconds away from the start of the final race.
Yeah, quite different conditions to yesterday. I'm sure all the sailors will be appreciating the sun, but really great racing. They've got to put it all on the line for this last race of the day, put them in good stead for tomorrow.
I think pressure's on all the crews here really, Todd, because everyone is still right potentially in the fight for the podium places tomorrow. That goes without saying. Top at the moment, Rolex Pole Predict sits on Italy. Perhaps they need a big race here. Ruggi Tito, he has space, 15 seconds to go, well positioned. Australia look close to the line to me at the bottom here. New Zealand have found a gap in the middle of the line. 7 seconds to go. It's going to be a blanket start. Watch for that line to turn white. Who's got the timing right? Oh, it's so tight. It's really good from Germany with a late dive through on the inside. New Zealand are fast in the middle. United States have got a long way to sail. I like where the Kiwis are here. They're going to drop the hammer into Mark 1 from here.
Just got to watch the zone on there, drop.
Heavy space, be nice, push it back.
And at mark number 1, it is the return of the Blackfoils. The Kiwis are back in race number 4. As they take that first turn, it is Martini Grail and Mubadala, Brazil. They'll sit in second place. And look how tight they're getting.
Oh, they just got too high there on board the German boat. They put the bows underwater and slowed up. I think everyone's avoided each other. That Mark 1's so tight if you fall off the foils. France, Australia, first to manoeuvre away. They're looking for space. And it's Mubadala, Brazil, again well positioned with the United States third. Wow, are they doing a nice job here, but it's all about gate 2.
Your Rolex Sprint leaders goes the way of Mubadala, Brazil, and a great performance by Taylor Canfield and US SailGP team. They currently sit in 4th place.
Lovely position to manoeuvre by the French. They're sailing into a dark patch of water. Big gust of wind going to hit the French. I expect them to roll down over the top of the Kiwis here. Beautiful by De La Pierre. Cut the corner. Found more breeze. He's on the inside. Burling's got to hope for a better rounding. Wide in, tight out, Peter.
It's the French, the Kiwis, and the Americans that opt for that left-hand side. Martini Grail, Mubadala, Brazil, and Red Bull, Italy, and Tita, they go to the other side. Here come the Aussies also checking in.
Nice work by the French. They had a tighter line in, but they managed to execute a good rounding. But again, left-hand side of screen, it's Brazil. They've split the course. They've got space. Australia, they set up to manoeuvre to try and find space in the middle of the pack. But Brazil, well, here they go. They've got a chance. They've got themselves some space again. Sailing really, really well. They're in good breeze. How's it looking on the water at the moment, Lisa?
I actually think Brazil is in the best breeze on the racetrack, but the Americans, the Kiwis, they're just getting a nice little shift at the moment. I'd still go for Brazil right now.
Tight here. Interesting here, Todd. Brazil have got to watch out. The boats there, France, the United States and the Kiwis have got the right of way. Brazil need to be very sure. They look like they're too tight. Got to keep out here. Massive moment. Too late by Brazil there. That's going to be a problem. Great work by Taylor Canfield and the US team to avoid a collision, even though they had the right of way. Well sailed there by them. But it's France, left-hand side. They've got space, and New Zealand in second place. It's going to be all about execution and manoeuvres here.
So Brazil gets a little rattled there on that crossing. They drop back to 5th, despite what Lisa was saying was a prime position. It is France out in front, New Zealand in 2nd, USA in 3rd.
We've got France and New Zealand. Well, they're in a similar patch of water, but you can see there's still quite different wind speeds, even though they're very close together there. So it is gusty and shifty out there on the water, which is a little bit what Lisa's been telling us, really. Great manoeuvre by De La Pierre, right in front of New Zealand. That's going to give the United States a little bit of a chance to find some space. And the Australians coming from the top of our screen. Slingsby's found space. That's what he said was so important out there. And he's right back in the race, forcing the USA to move out of the way, keep clear. And right now, well, it looks pretty good for the French, doesn't it, Todd?
C'est bien, on est en face tout le monde. Attention, transition.
I can understand that. Beware, there's a transition coming. What by the hay means there's going to be a change in wind speed. And the what is at this level of the racing so key is how well you adjust the wing setup, you adjust the foil setup for every little change in the wind speed, and that's just constant, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, it's really all about adapting to the changes around you, and if you can do that faster than the others, then that's going to put you in a really good position.
Remember at the top of the show we talked about on day number 1, you can't really lose the regatta, but you can certainly bury yourself in a hole. France has been consistent, Stevie. They had that one bad race in race number 2 where they finished in 9th place, but other than that, they had a 6th, and then they had a 3rd in the last race.
It's going to be really tight here. Spain have got the right of way. Great Britain, they're pushing too hard here. Dylan Fletcher really should have been keeping clear there. That was a big error by them. That's really going to hurt the Spanish. United, in the middle of the pack. United States find a way around. Great Britain park up. They're stopped in the middle. It's an absolute traffic jam there for the British. They're going to be right out the back. That's surely going to be big penalties. Yes, big penalties on board the British there. I don't know how many he'll get. Potentially 2, 3, 4 from Craig Mitchell for that. He absolutely parked up in the middle of the pack. They're going to lose a lot of metres, 20 metres per penalty at least. And you see right now they're still struggling to clear that. God, it was so tight at gate 3, just halfway through the race, Todd.
Handling of the race, obviously going to Tom Slingsby and Taylor Canfield. Somehow they worked their way through that mess of boats in the middle right at the gates, and they get through it. And Canfield and the Americans now up to 3rd place. And keep your eye on the top of the screen. Here comes Slingsby. He's creeping up now into 5th.
Feels like there's definitely more wind on this bottom of our screen because the United States have made a nice gain over the Aussies there. And yeah, I mean, what a way to come back after a completely disastrous event in Sydney for the US team. They're sailing really well here and got the boat going nicely around that race course. If they can get a 3rd place here, that'll be a good finish for them. I think for Canada, for Switzerland, in that 8th, 9th area on our leaderboard to the left-hand side there, important they try and gain 1, 2, 3 more places perhaps through this race.
The Americans, after 3 races in that group of 14 points. They had a 7th in race number 1. They backed it up with an 8th in race number 2, but they bounced back in race number 3 with a 4th place. So a top 3 here, and they could be looking at a very strong position going to Championship Sunday.
Yeah, another gate here, so another opportunity to turn right or left. The Kiwis are going to keep it simple. They're going to follow the French boat here. I think the interesting one could be Australia and the United States. There might be the opportunity for the US team to take a left turn if they can get across in front of Brazil. It's very tight. Not sure if he's quite clear ahead. It was really tight there. Potentially that'll be an issue, but could be Australia taking a left turn. There's definitely good wind towards that top right-hand corner of our course. This could be an opportunity for Slingsby.
And here comes Canada, Emirates GBR. They go side by side. And I'm not sure if it's the announcer jinx or what to our neighbors to the north, but the Canadians, after having a very strong performance and being the overall leaders right now after 3 races, are mired back in 8th.
Yeah, and they're in quite a tricky spot here. They're going to have to do a slow maneuver coming out of that mark, so they're really going to have to try and accelerate, work the boat hard to get back up to speed.
Final upwind leg here right now, and we can see right-hand side of screen Australia. They show us force. They're definitely in good wind over that side of the course. Be a crucial time to make a move up the fleet. They will have the right of way. Brazil are off the foils. France are well out in front and clear right now. It all looks pretty smooth, but it's all about can the Australian boat fight their way back ahead of the USA and Spain.
Let's go down on the water. Lisa Darman, and bring us home here on leg 5 of 6. Where do you want to be?
I think the French are definitely in control of this race, and where the Australians are right now, they've had a really good shift. They're about to sail into more pressure and then have a really nice ley line to this mark. So I think in terms of course geometry, Australia is looking strong on New Zealand, but it's so changeable out here. I seem to be getting it wrong every time, so just got to wait and see what happens.
Huge gain to the Australians there, wasn't it, Todd? They went round that mark in 5th place. They're up to 3rd, but they're not only up to 3rd, they're challenging 2nd and then way ahead of the US, who they were behind. But so bottom right-hand corner, they look good shape, the Aussies here.
But the question, Stevie, is will the Australians have one less maneuver than the Kiwis?
That's definitely, Todd. There you go. You're all over this sailing game now, aren't you? Yes, right of way will be with New Zealand when they meet, but New Zealand will have an extra manoeuvre to do than Australia, that is for sure. So it's potentially advantage Australia, although it's all going to come down to Mother Nature and what breeze that Kiwi boat gets. Go. Looks pretty good for New Zealand at the moment. Big angle. See how they're sailing nearly straight up the ladder lines? That's because the wind's rotated in their favour. So they might be able to sail a little bit less distance, cut the corner on the Aussies.
And as they make the turn at the top of the course, the win in race number 4 will go the way of Team France with Kylian Mbappe on their mast. They bring it home for the win in Los Angeles. And that is your Emirates winning moment as the French close out day number 1 with a huge victory.
Matty Van Dam, the grinder there, super happy on the front of that French
Here we
boat.
go, look at this.
New Zealand have got it though here, Todd. They're well ahead. They've done a nice job of manoeuvring in front of the Australians. Pretty solid day for the black foils. They'll be very happy. I think they'll end the day on top of the leaderboard with that one blip in race 3. Tom Slingsby, well, he's fought hard today. It's been the boxing kangaroos out there on the water today. They've had to fight, but they fought hard and they fought well.
Be a nice bounce back for the winners of last year's event here. Spain, they will finish in 4th. The Americans, they'll drop back to 5th. But a good day for Taylor Canfield and company, as they will come across top 5, and they will pick up some very valuable points going into Sunday. Championship Sunday with 3 more fleet races, and then the event final. But the big loss of the day, Stevie, I got to say on this last race, is got to be Canada. They'll drop back in a 6th place finish.
It will, but they'll still look pretty good on the leaderboard. Yeah, they'll be frustrated with places lost in the last few races. You can't get those points back. But good day overall. Great day for the United States. I think it is worth a shout out to them. They've sailed consistently in the pack. They'll still have a lot of things to work on. Of course they will. All the teams have. But good comeback by that US team. And Canada, well, they'll be happy. It's tight in the pack here. Emirates Great Britain, our series leaders. Wow, that was close. I think they were just okay. They're going to be fighting hard to make the top 3 tomorrow. They've yet to miss a final in season 5. Could Los Angeles be the first time that happens?
So Emirates GBR will finish in 7th place, and now the battle is on for 8th place as everyone trying to scramble to get just that extra point. Remember, after tomorrow's 3 fleet races, only the top 3 teams on points will get it. And here it is, a near photo finish at the line, and it looks like it will be Red Bull Italy that pulls it off.
Yeah, they just had room there. That was an absolute photo finish, wasn't it there? Tricky last race for the German team. Oh, that was a busy day on the water, that, Todd. That was busy day.
So all 4 races are now complete, and it is New Zealand that has taken control of the leaderboard here in Los Angeles. But the final race of the day goes to the newly branded French team with Kylian Mbappe and L'Oreal proudly flying in the breeze here in Los Angeles. We go on board, and Quentin Delapierre, wow, you bring some star power to this event. It's great to have you back on the water. What was the key to this 4th and final race for you and your team?
Yeah, I mean, well, not perfect start today, but we work a lot on our capacity to overtake, and we didn't start really well, but we finished the day with a good overall ranking, so it means that overtaking is better.
Yeah, Quentin, you did a nice job after Mark 1 there to find that little bit of extra pressure down to the gate. Was that you, or is that Manon finding that little magic gust?
It's always team collaboration, also with the coach, but we work a lot this phase for being more dynamic and more aggressive, and this time, it turns for us.
Quentin, appreciate your time. Merci, and enjoy Los Angeles tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for a big day on Sunday. All right, Stevie, let's go have a look at the highlights from race number 4. It belongs to France, New Zealand, and Australia, your top 3.
Well, it does, and of course it was so tight at the start, wasn't it? A lot of the crews managing to find space. They worked it out. Germany with a late dive did well. New Zealand again finding space, and they got away towards that first mark in really quite good shape. It was a bit of a drag race. New Zealand got round there first, but it was this first manoeuvre that the French pulled off here. They're in the background. We see them setting up here, but it was this crucial decision, gate 2. You can turn left or right. Easy choices for France, but I love what Brazil did here. Instead of following round 4th, they manoeuvred away and put themselves in clear space. Classic tactical decision making there, Marcini Grail and Paul Goodison, and then it was really tight in the pack after that, Hannah.
Yeah, huge mistake from Emirates GBR, really getting stuck in a bit of a tricky spot at the top of the gate, but great racing today.
So the Emirates winning moment goes the way of the French in race number 4. Big 10 points for Quentin Delapierre as we now take a look at the Emirates fly time, and why not double-double for the French as they go 82% fly time. They got away from the rest of the fleet, and they just sailed a near flawless race to pick up that victory. So now let's take a look at the overall. And once again, after 4 races in the stats here, Stevie, look at France. Only 6 maneuvers to New Zealand's 7 and Australia's 8.
Yeah, when you're out in front, it's pretty crucial to limit those maneuvers. Fly time, very good on the French. Just demonstrates when you're in the pack, Bubanda Brazil, 10 maneuvers. So hard to find space.
As we take a look at the standings now after 4 races complete on day number 1 here in Los Angeles, it is New Zealand on top, 31 points. Canada sits in second, and Australia now in third, with France just on the outside looking in. The Americans currently in 7th place, but look at that. They are only 5 points off the back end. And again, a terrible day for Rockwell, Denmark, hitting the marker in race number 1, and they have been docked 12 points, so that is brutal for them. They're going to have a huge hole, and their shore crew will do their very best to try to get them back on the water for tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at some of the precision athletes we've seen today, brought to you by Rolex and across the board. Stevie, pick your poison. Everyone did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised about the driver of the day with Nikolai, to be honest, as he crashed into a mark, but he's got the top speed of the day for sure. Tash Bryant, they did a great job of finding their way through the fleet, and well, you can't look past the speed on that top reach for the Blair Tuke, really.
Yeah, I think Blair Tuke well deserved for really, really getting on top of that first reach, especially those first 2 races.
So those are the Rolex Precision athletes of the day. As France gets the win in the final and the best time start, Rolex best time start. Stevie, how about that? Doesn't get much better. 0.33 of a second hit the line.
They did nail that. That is for sure. Really good time. I mean, the Kiwis were the starters of the day for me on average, but yeah, that one start by the French was just pretty much perfection.
Nice way to wrap up day number 1 for Quentin Delapierre and the French. And the highest speed of the day, well, this is the lone takeaway for Rockwell, Denmark, because, Hannah, this is tough. They hit 85.33 kilometers an hour, but their day ends in race number 1.
Yeah, a real unforced error from Nikolai Sersted, a real shame.
So now they'll bring it in, they will debrief, they will check the boats out, and now everyone turns their attention to tomorrow. What will the weather be like? For that, we check in with Lisa Darmanin down on the water.
To tomorrow.
Your starts you've struggled with so far this season, but look like you locked in a little bit more today. What have you changed?
We haven't changed the whole week, to be honest. Yeah, I think each race we've still led a couple with Mark 1. And
happy about what they did today. All right, final thoughts. Hannah, we'll start with you from day number 1.
I think it's about getting through today unscathed, really. It's not always about winning those races, it's about getting those worst results up as high as you can.
Well, I just think the starts is so crucial with these 12 boats. The wind's quite steady. There's not too many opportunities. What impressed me most really is the bounce back by the US team. I feel they did a very nice job of, chipping away mid-fleet. Slingsby, he's done a nice job of sort of containing that emotion. We know if he can get on a back foot and angry with himself, angry with the world, it can be hard. He's calmed it. He's reset the ship. That worried me if I was the rest of the fleet, how well the Australians reset and then fought back through the fleet.
Hannah, how ambitious should we think, or how optimistic should we be that Denmark's going to be back on the line tomorrow?
I don't know. They'll have to get an update from the tech team this evening, but, real shame. Such a perfect day on the water. They've had to miss out, but...
Yeah, I mean, unforced error that they hit a mark in New Zealand. There's a bit to get used to with these new foils, but that's not acceptable, really.
All right, that wraps up day number 1 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, event number 4, season 5. So that will do it, and it is New Zealand that carries all the momentum into La La Land on Championship Sunday. On behalf of Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris. You're watching the Rolex SailGP Championship. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to the Rolex Sail Grand Prix from the Port of LA.
Oh, it looks like pure drama out there. Oh, that's a disaster. But there's 5 wide around Mark 1.
The black foils reign supreme. It's Tom Slingsby ruins the day for the Brazilians.
I'm so sorry.
They bring it home for the win in Los Angeles.